Okay, so you guys really wanted to go deep, right back to the very beginning.
Literally day one
Exactly. Day one
of everything.
of creation, Genesis 1.3 to 5.
Which is interesting
I
because,
know, right?
like, you wouldn't think
3 little verses.
that there'd be that much to unpack.
It's just the beginning. But,
That-
like you were saying, there's a universe
oh, yeah.
in just these 3 verses.
I mean, you've got light and darkness, the power of words, good, evil.
It's all right there.
Just right there, yeah.
And it kind of sets the stage for, well, everything else, doesn't it?
It really does. These themes keep popping up all throughout history and even in stories we tell.
Absolutely.
Like, think about it, the hero and the villain.
Yeah, light versus dark.
Exactly. Good versus evil, knowledge versus ignorance.
We're going to see how those ideas
I'll start
right here.
right here.
Okay, so Genesis 1.3, let's just dive in.
Okay, let's do it.
And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light.
I love how simple that is.
Don't you?
Bam, instant universe.
God speaks.
And boom, there it is.
It's light.
It's amazing.
So what kind of light are we talking about here? Is this like a light bulb situation, or is this...
I don't think so, because even back then, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, no light bulbs.
No light bulbs, no.
Well, it's more than that.
Yeah, it's got to be, right?
Right.
Because even today, we use light to mean all kinds of things like knowledge,
Oh, okay.
understanding, truth.
I saw the light.
Exactly. See the light.
Gotcha. So it's more of a concept.
It's bigger than just the
Positive.
physical.
Yeah, it's like a spiritual illumination, too.
Okay, I like that. I like that spiritual illumination. And then, okay, so we've got light. And in verse 4, God sees it and says,
He sees it and says it's good.
and God saw that the light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness.
Now, there's a lot to unpack there, too.
I was going to say, good feels a little simple for such a momentous occasion.
Right. But the thing is,
It's like just good.
the Hebrew word there is tav.
Okay, tov. So that's more. It's so much more.
Which is good. Then just a thumbs up.
Okay. Tov means complete, fulfilling its purpose, even morally sound.
That is a lot more.
It is a lot more.
So God's not saying.
He's not just like, oh, nice light bulb.
Right.
He's saying this light, in all its forms, is inherently good.
Okay, wow. And then
And then he separates it from the darkness.
what's that all about?
Well, on one level, it's day and night.
Right, obvious. But
There's more to it, right.
it's that duality thing again.
Exactly. It's good versus evil, order versus chaos.
Like those classic stories we were talking about.
Exactly. The hero's journey.
It's right here at the very beginning.
Day one, the struggle is established.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we've got light, which is inherently tav, and the separation of light from dark. And then last but not least, we get to verse 5. What does it say?
Verse 5, God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day.
And there was evening and there was morning the first day. I love that. So we have naming again. God calls the light day and the darkness night. He's not just describing them, he's naming them, right? What's the significance of that?
Naming is powerful. It's like when you give something a name, you give it a purpose, an identity.
Right. Like when parents name a baby, they're not just picking a word, they're choosing something with meaning and hopes for the future.
Exactly. And this goes way back, even before humans. Think about Adam and Eve. God named them too, giving them dominion over creation.
Right. And here, he's doing the same thing with day and night, bringing order to the universe right from the start.
Exactly. He's establishing this rhythm, this cycle of light and dark.
It's like he's setting the very clockwork of the universe in motion.
Yeah.
And that day-night cycle, that rhythm, it's not just about telling time, is it?
No, I think it's more about the natural rhythms, the cycles of life.
It's like the seasons, or even the beating of our own hearts. Everything in life is cyclical.
We experience life as a series of cycles. Light and darkness, activity and rest, growth and decay. It's all part of this grand design.
Wow. We've gone from God's spoken word creating light to this profound meaning of good and tav, and then to the power of naming and establishing order and this incredible rhythm of the universe. That's a lot to unpack from just 3 verses.
It is, and we've only just scratched the surface.
Right. It's amazing how much depth there is here. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the very beginning, what's your biggest takeaway? What do you want our listeners to really think about?
Even the simplest things can have layers of meaning. And that the way God sets things up right from the start, it impacts everything. Light represents so much more than just the physical. It's about knowledge and goodness. And those things are powerful. So I guess the question for everyone listening is, what kind of light are we bringing into the world? What choices are we making? What are we naming with our actions?
That's a great question. And a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.